Well, not everyone has a beautiful pond like we have here in the Japanese gardens at Hatley Castle, but if you have a smaller pond and you need filtration, you may want to try the pressurized filter. And we brought in Gord Szolnysanszky from Aquascape. Hi.
How's it going?
Good, thanks. Now you've got a unit here, and you know, I've seen the biological filters where the water just sort of flows through, but often, because they have to be at the top of the pond, can be a bit of a problem. With these ones, you can have pretty well anywhere, and maybe you can explain how they work.
Yeah, it's a pressurized filter, so that whatever you're pumping in, you are pumping out, so it doesn't necessarily have to be at the top of your pond necessarily. You can put it anywhere. It can go in ground or above ground. So it's an easy addition to an existing pond. Okay,
so it goes in under pressure, comes out under pressure.
That's right.
Okay, perfect. Now, with something like this, do you add chemicals or is it a biological filter? How does it work?
It's a biological filter as well as a mechanical filter. There's a series of foam inside there, varying densities, and that will actually take a lot of the particles out. And then we also have some biomedia in the bottom, which is surface area.
Okay, well, let's have a look. Yeah.
There you go. So there's the 3 layers of foam right there, different densities. It takes out a lot of the larger particles. And then in the very bottom, what we have is biomedia, bioballs, and it's just basically surface area for beneficial bacteria to grow on.
Okay, well let's step back a little bit. So the water comes in and then it flows through the coarser foam first, taking out some of the bigger chunks, and then works its way through, is that
right? And then works its way through the finer foam.
Okay, then it goes into the biomedia, and I guess you're sort of colonizing microbes and stuff in the bottom of this thing.
Yeah,
right?
Beneficial bacteria will start to grow on all the surface area of those balls down there. So, and it starts to do a lot for the biological filtration of the pond. So they'll work away on the smaller particles.
Okay. Now I noticed that there's a tube here, and we've brought a light. How does this factor into the whole system?
We have 3 different sizes, and they're all available with and without UV light.
Okay.
So this is a model, of course, with the UV light.
Right. Okay. So what does a UV light actually do?
A UV light is working on the finest particles in the pond, all the really small single-celled algae that would normally pass through larger filters like this. So it's going to actually clump together and kill all the really fine small particles.
Oh, okay. So it makes it a bigger particle, easier for the filter to get rid of.
Right.
Okay. So the water's come through. I've zapped it with my ultraviolet light. It's come together as a bigger clump, and I've taken it, and it's got stuck in the filter here.
Yeah.
So now I've got all this stuff in here. How do I clean this?
Depending on how dirty your pond is and continues to be, will tell you how often you actually have to clean it out. The flow will be reduced, you'll notice, once the filters start to clog up. And it's just as simple as taking them out and giving them a good rinse. Just the foam themselves. We do tell people to rinse it in pond water if they can, and not to get them completely clean. You don't want to use bleach. You don't want to boil them. A little bit of what's on there left behind is a good thing. It's the bacteria, and it's doing a lot for the cleaning of your pond. So
I always laugh at when I hear, clean it but don't do that good of a job, and because I think that's great, because I think a lot of people will use tap water which has chlorines or chloramines in there, which basically I guess would kill the bacteria.
Right, and then you're starting fresh all over again.
Right.
Which you can do, but you set yourself back a little bit. So take a bucket of pond water out and rinse them,
really
thoroughly, but not completely.
Okay.
And then stick them back in.
Now getting back to, maybe I should get back to this light. Obviously this light isn't going to last forever. Does it lose some of its efficiency after time?
Right. Like any light bulb, it will burn out eventually, depending on use. Typically you'll get a good season out of a light bulb, and then you'll have to replace it.
Okay.
There's 2 different sizes. There's a 9-watt bulb and a 24-watt bulb, depending on the size of your filter. But yeah, that's the one thing you should probably have to replace, probably once a year.
Okay, so basically you just unscrew it, dispose of it naturally, or recycle it, make sure it goes into the right areas.
Yep. New bulbs now also have a ballast on them as well, so when you replace the bulb, you are replacing the whole ballast, which is nice. So
perfect. Thanks, Gord. I really appreciate this. We're looking forward to having clear ponds this year.
My pleasure. Thank you.